Well, Brian Castano's manager says scoring of the Charlo rematch was BS, even worse than in Texas. I don't know about that, but let's talk.
Push the weight in our flex. Flex the livest one in the section. Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You will run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan, Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. I saw this article about a day ago. What was it? Yeah, I saw it yesterday. I figured I'd talk about it today. Letting the dust settle just a little bit. Link will be in the description. Boxing scene. Castano's manager says the scoring of the Charlo rematch was BS again, even worse than in Texas. Sebastian Contursi couldn't believe what he heard. Brian Castano's manager had asked again during their post-press conference if one of the judges, Glenn Feldman, actually scored 8 of 9 completed rounds for Jermell Charlo. Connecticut's Feldman indeed had Charlo ahead 89-82, entering the fateful 10th round where pretty much Charlo took care of business. The other two judges, Oklahoma's David Sutherland and California's Zachary Young, had Charlo in front by closer scores when the Houston native sent Castano to the canvas twice during the 10th round and stopped him. Fight of the year candidate, they're calling it. Fight of the year candidate. And I don't blame him. It was a hard-fought fight. Neither man came to lay down, and no controversy. It just ended. Buenos Aires, Castano, and Contursi congratulated Charlo for his performance and accepted that boxing's first fully unified 154-pound champion of the four-belt era decisively defeated the former WBO junior middleweight champion. Contursi crushed the judges, though, particularly Feldman, for how they saw what was closely contested, but before Charlo found his rhythm and began to build the lead in the final few rounds. My comment on that is BS again. You can read it yourself. I know what he's saying. Contursi said, even worse than in Texas. This is a joke we didn't know until the press conference. Charlo and Castano fought to a controversial split draw in their 12-round title unification fight last July. And last July, 17th, at the AT&T Arena in San Antonio, AT&T Center in San Antonio. Juan George and Puerto Rico's Nelson Vasquez absurdly scored 9 rounds of that back-and-forth fight for Charlo, 117-111. New Jersey Steve Weisfeld, there's that name again, y'all, scored the bout for Castano, 114-113. And Nevada's Tim Cheatham, there's that name again, y'all. There's those names again, 114-114. Sidebar, Weisfeld and Cheatham, they seem to work together a lot. A lot. But that's for another video. Or you can check my live. CompuBox counted 21 more punches overall for Castano on Saturday night. According to CompuBox unofficial statistics, Castano landed more power punches and Charlo connected with more jabs. The link will be in the description. I'm just going to go through, I'm trying to read the important parts. Down here at the bottom, it says it was definitely a tough fight. Castano said, I need to watch it, of course, but what I really like is the atmosphere, how the fans and the people get caught up in the heat of the fight. It's always a pleasure for me to transmit that to the fans. That's my style. That's the article. The link will be in the description. Here's my opinion. I don't think the score was that far off. You gotta understand, there's a certain criteria to score in a boxing match. And true that refs, not refs, well, refs, but judges see different things. They like different things. Some judges like pressure fighters, but one of the criteria to score a boxing match is effective aggression, clean and effective punching. You could just be throwing stuff, but they could be getting blocked with your elbows, your arms, getting picked off, slipping punches. But what happens is when a fighter is the favorite, or if the fighter's on foreign turf, but half of his damn country comes to support him, anytime he throws a punch and it hits the glove, they're screaming and hollering. Think back to, let me give you an example of a fighter being at home, but it's still hostile territory. Perfect. Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Ricky Hatton. You'd have thought he was in London. You would have thought that they were in London. And in the first round, you know, Ricky comes out like a bull and he throws a punch and he's trying to rush Floyd. And Floyd and Ricky got their feet tangled up, and Floyd just went backwards and he almost fell. Now the punch was landed. Ricky, I believe, threw a wild right, and Floyd stepped to the side but tripped over his leg and he was falling backwards, and the crowd went bananas. I was in my crib watching it like, nope, not a punch landed. He's off balance. Now I'm willing to bet that if the rope, because he fell into the ropes, if he didn't fall into those ropes, or he wasn't that good of an athlete and he just fell and rolled on the floor, that'd have been a 10-8 round. That's what we call a fighter winning the drama of the fight. That's all there was. It was high drama. People hate Floyd. They was going there to see him lose. Ricky Hatton was a runner-up. And it wouldn't have mattered if that was a 10-8 round anyway, because Ricky got knocked out that night. You know, so there was no judging needed. But clean and effective punching, ring generalship, effective aggression, defense. Those are just some of the things. All I saw was, and salute to Castano, but all I saw him doing was what he could do. He was a smaller guy. He walked forward, closed the distance. He really did a good job timing that jab in certain spots, because he punched over Jamel's jab and landed the right hand about 3 or 4 times during the fight. But outside of that, that jab that they talked about, he was controlling the fight with that jab. And every time his back touched the ropes, he fought off or he spun off, and he kept the fight in the center of the ring. He controlled the fight. Okay, Jamel was on cruise control for a second, and then when things got hectic, he kicked it up to another gear, and he had enough power to keep him honest. Every time Castano turned it up, Jamel turned it up, and it kept him honest because he respected his power. And you see, by the way the fight ended, why he respected his power. Because look what happened. He was taking more risk going into the gunfight with Jamel, because Jamel's a big puncher. So this wasn't a robbery on the scorecards. I couldn't find that many rounds to give Castano either. And I want you guys to understand something. I watch these fights on mute. The only time I unmute it is when the round's over and I want to hear what the corners have to say. Castano's corner, if I heard correctly, was in Spanish. I don't want to hear the translator. But I wanted to hear what Derrick James had to tell Jamel, and it was perfect. And Jamel showed up in shape, and Jamel listened to Derrick James. He was calm, and he let the knockout come. He wasn't trying to go in there and swing for the fences and make a statement. They trained for this, well scouted. And this was the thing. Castano fought the same fight he fought in the first fight. Jamel is the one that fought different. So I guess in this aspect, we was right. That was the best Castano we could see in both fights. That's who he is. This is who he is. But that doesn't mean that everybody else fighting Castano moving forward has the same talent, has the same ability to do what Jamel Charlo has done. You understand what I'm saying? Castano could go in there against Tim Tszyu and knock him sideways. He could knock Tim Tszyu sideways. I still like Castano over Tim Tszyu. Sebastian Fundora, I don't know how he's going to reach him. But, well, Fundora likes to fight on the inside. which would probably work in Castano's favor. Because if you remember, before the Erickson-Lubin fight, I forget the guy that he fought prior to that, but it's a Spanish dude, a guy from Spain, who fought Tony Harrison and lost, but he gave Fundora fits. And remember, Erickson-Lubin was damn near out of that fight, but he came back and knocked Fundora down. I think Castano, and I could be wrong, depending on who he is after this fight, I think he's more educated. He's an educated pressure fighter. So there's still life in Castano. Salute to him. He didn't come to lay down. He wanted this thing. I just so happen to agree with the scorecards. Whenever it was seconds left of each round, Castano was trying to steal the rounds. You don't have to do things like that if you're comfortable being ahead. He knew he wasn't ahead. So I have no problem with the scorecards. It wasn't BS like his manager or promoter, whoever this fella is. But he has a whole lot of life left. It's only a knockout. He took it on the chin, no pun intended. He's owning it. He doesn't, seem like he's all in some state of depression or anything like that. And he'll be back. And I look forward to watching him again. So shout out to Castano, man. Nothing to hang your head about, man. Salute to Jamel Charlo. This was a fun fight of the year. Being that what was at stake here, it's beautiful, man. This is boxing. This is all we ever wanted. And putting all the ignorance aside, all the ridiculous fans, this is what we wanted. And I appreciate both of these men for giving us what we wanted. I like it. All right? So y'all tell me what you think in the comment section. You already know what it is. Bronx on deck.
Move!